We are now ready to sew both of the casings. The first thing that we need to always do is check to make sure that our machine is threaded correctly. So just do a couple of stitches, maybe about an inch or so, needle up, press your foot up, pull off to the left, and it looks pretty good on both sides. And we're ready to go. Now I'm going to line this up with the inside of this little silver toe, the left toe. Not the plastic part, but the inside of this toe, which will put us about 1/8 of an inch away from the end. I'm not starting at the exact end. I'm starting maybe a couple, 2 or 3 stitches on the inside. I'm going to drop my needle down. I want to tell you right now, we're through a very thick part. There's about 8 layers of fabric right there. And I'm going to get rid of that first pin because I don't want to sew over it. Now, it's really important that we backstitch all the way to the end, because what's underneath the needle right now is a part that's really going to have a lot of stress on it. That's where the strings are going to go in and out of your bag. So we want to make sure that that has a nice firm stitching on it. So I'm going to stitch a couple forward. Okay, and it's tough going through here. You might have to give it a little bit of a push. And then I'm going to back stitch, and I want to make sure I push all the way to the end. Now I'm ready to go forward. Again, I am concentrating on watching where this toe touches this edge of the fabric right there. And I'm going to actually back out a little bit so you can see kind of what I'm doing. So this toe right along here. And if you'll notice also, I keep my hand on top of the casing so that it doesn't wiggle around. I don't want it to get any narrower than it already is. It's supposed to be 1 inch wide. And it needs to be that 1 inch wide so that our strings will go through there. We want to take this slowly and make it look really pretty, because it is going to show on the outside of our bags. We don't want any puckers. We don't want any funky stitches. Nice and slow. And I'm stitching not quite at the 2. If that's too fast for you, you can slow it down a little bit. Because I'm going to remind you, I hate to rip. Oh, and I almost went over the pin. I did notice that it was there, so I stopped before I was actually stitching over it. But it's probably better to stop even before you get to it. And we're almost to the end. Now, this part's really thick right here, and it's going to want to wiggle around. If you notice, I'm keeping my finger on it right here. It's away from the needle, so I'm not going to stab myself at all. But I need to come all the way, and as soon as it's under the foot, I can let go. I need to stitch all the way to the end, and I'm going slower because it's really thick there. And then I'm going to back stitch about 4 stitches, stitch off the end to reinforce it. Needle up, press your foot up, pull off to the left, and we want to clip these threads. And I want them to be clipped really close because, again, this is going to show on the outside, and we want this to look nice and neat. Now, if you've done this correctly, you should have a nice reinforcement right at the end. These edges should be even. Same way over here. I have reinforcement here, but I do need to clip my threads. And one of the things I did when I got started was I held on to my threads so I didn't get a big bird's nest on the underside, because the outside is actually the underside when we're sewing. So nice and straight all the way across. Do that on the other one, and then we are ready to put our pocket on.